Down here. Guys, I did it! I made myself small! Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today our movie in the middle is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the third in the Ant-Man series and the beginning of Phase 5 of the MCU, following Scott Lang and his family as they are sucked into the quantum realm and hunted by Kang the Conqueror. It stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Kathryn Newton, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Bill Murray. Okay, so we are finally into Phase 5 of the MCU, and I think Phase 4 was a good learning experience because they tried a lot of things. They introduced the multiverse a lot of times. They did some experimental things. Some worked, some didn't. We had some really great stuff, some really stuff.
We like ice cream like every child should. And if we get some ice cream, we
But they are cutting back. They are raising quality instead of quantity. And now I think we have one straightforward storyline again, just like we did with Thanos, this time with Kang. And I have to say, if only tonally, if this movie sets what the rest of Phase 5 and 6 are going to be like, I'm a little bit here for it. So with that, my highs, the very first one, is that it is very emotional, and it feels like it actually has gravity. I have heard that a lot of people didn't love this movie as much as others, because of the fact that they felt it wasn't lighthearted enough or charming like the other Ant-Man movies. And I'm going to be honest with you, that and the Rotten Tomatoes score of a 48%, I don't get that at all. Now, obviously, the audience score is much different from the critic score. It's very polarizing there. But in the respect of just everybody who says that it's not as fun as the others, first of all, and this is another high, it is very funny. It's got a lot of really funny moments. I was going into this expecting that there wasn't going to be that many from what I've been hearing. You know, I thought it was just going to be too mean-spirited or not as charming, whatever, but it has a lot of great lighthearted, funny moments, even with all this other stuff going on. There was a lot of moments I was busting out laughing. I was like, that was pretty good. Like, obviously, Ant-Man and Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, all of that, it's gonna have comedic, humorous moments, and it really does, which honestly is good because it does break up the tension from these really emotional moments as well. But I am so happy that they had emotional, grave moments in this movie. Because honestly, we are into Phase 5. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of the Kang series and this multiverse series. I think we need this. You know, we're getting into the big story, and Kang is, which I'll talk about in a second, he is not to be messed around with. And I think we needed this. Because aside from Wakanda Forever, the last couple of Marvel movies and shows have been a little bit more lighthearted and fun. And people are always saying that Marvel is too fun. It has too many jokes and they want more serious stuff. Well, here you go. You're finally getting the serious stuff. And for some reason, nobody is liking it because it's Ant-Man. But that bothers me too, because honestly, I feel like Ant-Man is always the butt of the joke.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
You know, or he's really underutilized, even though he is almost single-handedly responsible for saving the entirety of the world. That's just me. But now we are actually, like, this is his moment. This is his realm, literally. Like, the multiverse, the quantum realm, all that stuff that we're getting into, he is going to have some serious participation in this and some serious authority on what's going to be going on here. Like, this is his thing. So I'm really excited that they're taking him in a serious role where he can actually play a big part in this. And honestly, that goes for all the characters. Hope, Cassie, Hank, all of them, because they are all a part of this. And the fact that we're starting Phase 5 with them in this is really, really good. Aside from all of that, the world building part of it was just super cool because it was unknown and scary and mysterious. And I mean, this is the quantum realm. Anything is possible. We have no idea what's here. It's outside of space and time. Or maybe it is space and time. I don't know. It's a little confusing. But it was just super cool. And you had no idea what you were up against for a lot of it, especially when they first get there. And it was just the way it was designed. I thought it was just going to be this big CGI mess from the trailer. But honestly, it was really well done, and it was cool. They took things from like a lot of other movies. It kind of felt like Dune and Guardians and Thor and Avatar and Star Wars all rolled up into one with some new things. And the design of the creatures and the people and everything, I just thought were really interesting. They had a lot of cool ideas. And another funny thing is just the fact that they have more like rainbow kind of aesthetics in the production design and the color theory and everything, and just like all the colors and everything. I just think it's funny that Phase 4 and 5, they were like, we just have to have rainbows in every single part of these movies. And it always just looks good. Kang was awesome. Jonathan Majors is so good. He just commands every scene that he is in. And I am so excited to see more of him in the upcoming Marvel movies and through, you know, the Kang Dynasty and all of that, and in Loki and everything. I mean, when I saw him just in Loki, I was like, he really just stole that entire scene, like the one scene he was in. And he's just such an interesting character that, like, it's going to be hard to write and to fight because he can write time, but it's just so interesting. Now, a critique that a lot of people have was we're not really sure what his motivation is, but I honestly was okay with this because we know what his motivation is in this movie. We know why he's doing what he's doing in this movie, and that's all I needed to know, because there are foreshadowings of what else is to come, but we're not quite sure. It's questions to be answered. So it's not like we're not going to understand, but we didn't need to right now. And I think that's okay, because, you know, you don't want to give away everything all at once, and there's just going to be a lot more confusion and mystery to come from this, because it's a really weird concept. So I was okay with that, but just his acting in this, it was awesome, and he was scary as hell. Like, he just annihilates people, and he is angry, but he, like, has reserved anger sometimes. He was really good. I loved him in this. Also, I have to say, MODOK was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't believe that it is very reminiscent of George Lopez in Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and it just, unfortunately, is just how he looks in the comics. But there was something specific about him as well in this movie that was very, very cool. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, that's a really interesting detail. I have one middle, and that is Cassie, not because of the recasting, even though I always feel a little weird about that, especially, I don't know if it was because of scheduling issues or they wanted a bigger name, whatever, I'm not sure. I think Kathryn Newton did a very, very good job. It just always weirds me out when they just switch actors and it's like nothing happened, you know, like Mads Mikkelsen and Johnny Depp and all that stuff. It's just always weird to me. But the reason it's a middle in here is because her character, now that she's older, has become, I'm going to say this, and it's just for lack of a much better phrase, but she is, as a lot of people will call her, very SJW, which means social justice warrior. And I've never quite understood, like, the hate on that, or you know, like the stigma around it, because your whole goal is you like to help people, you jerk. But she is kind of like that in this movie, and on the one hand, I understand how it can be annoying, because there are times where she does it where it's like, look, there are bigger things going on here. We can't worry about this right now. We have been sucked into the quantum realm. Like, come on. So there are times where it's like, it's a little much, but at the same time, I can understand character-wise why, because first of all, she's always been very sweet, even as a child, and she's always wanted to help. But two, I never even thought about this until this movie. She was alone for 5 years. All of them were gone in the snap, and Scott was in the quantum realm. And she had to see all of the pain and suffering from everybody who had gone through that by herself. I could understand where she's coming from. Okay, I do have a few lows. They're kind of small, but one of them is, while I do love the world building, there is one aspect of it that I don't really love, and that's that they have kind of a, in the quantum realm, sort of a more established city type deal. I don't want that. I want mysterious and weird and unknown, and you don't know what you're getting into. I don't want that there's a society in the quantum realm. That just feels really weird to me. Like they had a restaurant. I don't get that. If you're going to have inhabitants in the quantum realm, they should be like one-off random scavengers or strangers. It shouldn't be like the society. That just was really weird to me. Also, for as much gravity as this movie has, it does to me feel a little inconsequential at the end. It kind of wraps up a little bit nicer than I would have liked. There are still some implied things that are definitely coming, but I definitely thought for as much emotional weight as this had at the end, something worse would have happened. You know, there's still a lot that goes on. And the end, I was on the edge of my seat. I was sweating. I was like, oh God. Like, it was really well done, because, like, Scott gets pissed in this movie, and I was here for it. But it does feel a little bit inconsequential for everything that was going on. Lastly, I was not at all a fan of the mid-credits scene. The end credits is fine because it's leading into something else, but the mid-credits scene specifically, it shows kind of where we're going plot-wise with this, and I think it is a very big misstep. I can't obviously say why, and maybe it'll work. I don't know. This is one little scene showing what's going to be happening for the next 2 phases. Maybe it'll work. But from what I saw, I didn't love it. I'm a little bit nervous because they have something real great and they're gonna screw it up. So overall, honestly, I don't really get the hate on this movie. I don't. If I'm taking it at face value. At face value, I really, really liked this. And my brother liked it, which is saying a lot because he hasn't really loved most of Phase 4, except for, like, No Way Home. And he said after watching this that this was, like, the first one where he felt like it was the old MCU again, and he's, like, watching these big things unfold where it's funny but also really, really serious at the same time. And so I agree with him on that, you know? And yeah, if you're watching Ant-Man, you're probably looking for the charming and the funny and the lighthearted, but I think we need to be past that at this point. We're getting into some serious stuff again, and I think the tonal shift is needed. But yeah, if I'm not looking at it just as this movie and the precursor to what's coming, I am a little cautious. I need to be cautious about that because I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go, and it could fall flat. I don't know. But at least for right now, I can have that hope that it will go into something cool and better. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania a 3.5 out of 4. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of Kang versus Lang, and let me know what your thoughts are going forward for Phase 5, and if you think we're heading in the right direction. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. See you guys later. Who wouldn't want to make things small? I do it all the time. I mean, look, I did it to this car, this SWAT car, right? Still probably going to get in trouble for that one. Did it to this camera, right? I even did it to the Iron Throne.